breaking and hip hop, for me personally, I would have never thought of working with kids or getting to the counseling field. I would have never gotten into event management and throwing events and understanding how to budget. The skills that I learned through hip hop, I learned so much that I didn't learn in school.
On this episode, we got a real dope b-boy from Vancouver, BC, Canada. He's known for throwing competitions. He's thrown over 25 jams. He's in a crew called Floor Storms. We got no other than Bboy Art Attack. We'll be going with organs, how to throw jams. This episode might be for you, so let's go and check it out. Yo, what up, guys? This is Tony47. We're out here today in Vancouver, BC. We got Arthur. He's one of the known person to throw jams. He's most known here in Vancouver, BC. This is the person you want to link with. Hey, what's up, Arthur? How you doing?
What's up? Yeah, my name's Arthur, B-Boy Arthur. Sorry, DJ Art Attacks, B-Boy, no, I messed that up.
It's okay.
Yeah, sorry. B-Boy Art Attacks,
Okay.
DJ Arthur Storm. Yeah, that's
Dope,
too
dope.
many handles, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And you've been throwing ever since I've been starting. I know that you've been out here in Canada, BC, Vancouver, and you've been throwing I don't know how many jams. You just threw tons of jams. I remember that. And I met you through one of your jams that you hosted. Hugh was a judge. Puzzle was a judge. You threw a jam. I came here with Gups. Mm-hmm. We made semifinals. We're like, yo, dude, that'll be sick if we made finals at least. But still, we out here to rep Portland and in that side of Oregon. So, tell me, like, before you started throwing all these jams, what year did you start breaking?
I started breaking.
Or how did you get into it?
Yeah, I started breaking in 2003. I mean, I recently got expelled from my school for doing stupid shit. Excuse my language, but it was dumb. It was dumb stuff. I'm not gonna go into it, but you know, teenagers are gonna do stuff to feel like they belong to something and they're recognized, and that's kind of what I was.
Did you give them a b-boy? The blast.
No, because this is before I started breaking.
Okay,
right?
okay.
So, was hanging out with the crowd, and we were doing shady stuff, and I got kicked out of school.
Okay.
So when I started at this new school, one of my friends from my old school reached out. It's like, hey, do you want to take these breakdancing classes downtown?
Okay.
Like, well, I got nothing better to do my Friday nights, so we ended up going to this class downtown every Friday, and that's kind of where it started.
Yeah.
Kind of 3 months in, my friend kind of dropped off, wasn't interested in it anymore, and I was still interested.
Okay.
Yeah. So from there, I was like, I don't know, you have like forums online from your local community. We had a website called Vancouver Exchange, and there was a post that was like, oh, let's rep your crew if you're a street dancer, if you're a b-boy, whatever.
Okay.
Like post your b-boy name and your crew. And I posted, I'm like, yo, I'm not in any crew, but I live in Surrey. And somebody commented on my post and was like, oh, you're in Surrey, like come meet up with us and come practice with us.
Okay, sick.
And I linked up with those guys, and those guys became some of my best friends and became crew. We were known as Funk It Up, and then we were later introduced to guys from Floor Storm, and they brought us into that crew too.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Cool. And you said you started back in high school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then you got down with Floor Storm at the time, and then you're learning a lot. Were you guys, what would you say, what was your first competition?
My first competition, it was called Bboy City Jam. Yeah.
B-Boy City, okay.
Sorry. B-Boy Battle City Jam.
Okay.
B-Boy Battle City Jam, hosted by Ramir. So Ramir, this guy from Richmond, he threw these big crew battles out in Richmond at Canby High School, and that was my first big jam.
And dope, and that was local, right?
That was local, yeah. But I remember, I mean, looking back at footage, cats from Moon Patrol were out here
Okay.
I think it was Moon Patrol, but also definitely Misguided Steps. I know I saw
Oh
Byron
yes.
there, and then I saw like Dance Rooms. Woody was there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
Seattle cats out here.
yeah,
That's dope.
yeah,
Hell yeah. I love to see the outer towners come to different cities and kind of rep each other, right?
yeah.
And dope. So, how many jams from today you think you thrown? Too many to count, or
A little too many to count
okay,
because I feel that I started throwing gems in 2007, and since then, give or take a couple of years,
yeah,
I would throw four, maybe five jams a year.
okay,
Um, from 2000, I want to say 2008 to about 2014.
okay.
Yeah, there'd be a bunch of events that I was involved in, or like I threw myself. Yeah, so
So, like, with all your jam experiences, what are some of the top jams you think you represented and thrown till this day?
yeah. So one of my favorite jams that I used to throw was called "Play Your Cards Right," and
Yeah.
the main aspect of that jam was a concept battle called the Solitaire Battle.
Oh, okay.
So with that battle, I would, at least back then, I would invite 16 of the dopest b-boys, b-girls that I knew at the time, and they were part of this exhibition.
Okay.
You take those 16, you throw their names in a hat, and you divide them up into two crews.
Uh-huh.
So it's like 20's on this side, Arthur's on this side, Gup's on that side, he was on that side. So it's completely random. You could be in a crew with people that you know. You could be in a crew with, your rivals.
Right.
But essentially, you battle, and if you win, you move on. If you lose, that whole side, all 8 of those b-boys are out,
Okay.
and then the remaining 8 get divided up into another crew of
Four
on
on
4,
four. Okay.
and then 2 on 2, and then 1 on 1. So I mean, I thought it was dope because you could add a little strategy to it. So
Yeah.
yeah. So if you're on a team with the b-boy or b-girl that's winning all your battles, and you're just like, you know what, I don't want Tony to win this one, so I'm gonna mess up my round so that they don't get through.
Oh, right.
Or you can go and do your best and face them in the finals potentially, right?
Right.
So yeah, it came with. I always like jams where there's a little bit more of a strategy involved with how you're battling, who you're battling with, and it just for me made it a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then aside from that, I would host a 2-on-2. So you and Gup entered that one as a 2-on-2.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so that's where you guys went to semifinals. Just to also involve the rest of the community who wasn't invited to the solitaire battle. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So that was your favorite top of jams, right?
I would say so. I think
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the first jam that I threw under my company with my friend Cookie Rez, Funk and Soul. I threw that back in 2008, and
Okay.
I threw it like on my birthday.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah. So it was
Oh,
like
yes.
my birthday jam, and like there was this cool concept battle. First time ever like bringing in an out of town guest. So I brought up Massive Monkeys to judge. I think I brought up Twix and Jeromski.
Oh, wow.
So like for me that was a big deal. For that being the second jam I ever threw.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
It meant a lot. It was my birthday, and it was a good time. Yeah.
Dope. Play your cards. Yeah, I love that solitary
Yeah.
style of battle because it just breaks into strategize and breaks up crews where you got to strategize with other people. So I love it.
Yeah.
Other than that, what other jams you done? I know last year you hosted the Red Bull
Yeah.
Vancouver, right? And so I think that's pretty dang awesome that you did.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I'm super blessed that my boys Boob Jester and Benzo recommended Red Bull to work with me for the Vancouver Red Bull BC1 ciphers. So 2 years ago, we just did a cipher,
Yes.
and then because of how how successful Phil Wizard's been in the international scene. They're like, let's bring it to his city for the
Okay.
national final in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And they put a lot of trust in me and Bob and Benzo and a whole team of people to bring Red Bull BC1 national to Vancouver. So that was
Oh, wow.
the biggest event that I'd say, the biggest production I've been a part of up to this point.
Dang, that's awesome. And not everybody can say that. So that's really cool that you got involved in that, and in the Vancouver scene.
Yeah, definitely.
Heck yeah. So like tell me, so you thrown so many jams. Let's talk about jams. And so what does it take to do, walk me through how you would throw a jam, right? I know you gotta get venues, judges, but walk me through your method.
Yeah, I mean, and from my method, I was really inspired by one of my crewmates, Carlo. He threw a jam called Unspoken years ago, I think before I started throwing jams. And like his thing was like he was super into wrestling, so like every crew had like entrance music and stuff.
Okay.
But essentially, like I want to throw a jam that I want to go to. That's
Love that.
That's kind of like the base level kind of qualifier that I would say that I have. If I'm throwing an event, I want to make sure that it's something that I would think is dope, that I would want to attend as a competitor or a spectator, whatever. I want to make sure I'm bringing that to whatever I'm hosting, because if I'm entering this event and I'm not having fun, I'm not feeling inspired to cipher, I'm not feeling inspired to connect with people, then why am I there?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that can mean so many different things for so many different people, right?
Right.
So early on for me, it was different concept battles, different venues, things that typically were not used. And I know that back in like the mid 2000s, gyms were being used for jams, right?
Yeah.
I think
there was tons of those for sure.
I think it was Main One, DJ Main One. He had a podcast or a radio show.
Yeah.
And they were just ragging on what they dubbed gym jams. Like jams thrown in gyms, and it's like, you got the fluorescent lighting and you got the basketball lines, and you just like it at a certain point, like it's dope. But at the same time, it's like if every event is at a gym, it all looks the same, it feels the same.
Yeah.
So, how do you make it different?
Yeah.
But also that goes to like what venues do you have access to, what you can afford, and the connections that you have within your own community to utilize different spaces.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like I was able to throw things because I knew people that worked in certain areas, or I was able to do stuff because certain people reached out to me. So it wasn't all like I need to do it at a cafe because I want to do it at a cafe. It's because it was my friend was at that school, and a cafe was one of their venues, and that we had access to.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so kind of I utilized my network to, make it different, make it interesting. For a long time, I would do jams at the Sandman Hotel downtown Vancouver.
Okay.
And like you had to walk through a Moxie's Grill to get to the battle.
Okay.
Yeah, it was always,
weird.
A little weird for some people, also kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
When you've done the jam, you just walk out and you're in a restaurant, which is a little expensive, but whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that
so
being different,
being different, finding different venues, gym stuff. I threw it like my first jam was like a community center gym area, right? I liked it because it was like accessible and the budget for it was very cheap at the time. And it's like, oh yeah, sure, let's throw one here, right? But then I feel like the more impact, like hardwood floor, dance floor, a little bit enclosed. That way, it feels like more people circled around.
Yeah.
More people involved, engaging with the crowd and the ciphers and the battles, right? So like, because all those gym floors, people will be dancing here, here.
It's so big, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you got like 400, 500 people, you
Yeah,
can't
that makes
fill
sense.
Space, right? And then
Yeah.
like it feels like everything's so far, like the vibe. I mean, amazing battles have been thrown in gyms.
Yes, true, true.
But at the same time, if you're throwing a local battle and you're not getting that many people, how do you close in that energy? How do you close in that space?
Yeah.
A smaller space works, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So first, let's say I didn't know how to throw a jam. I want to throw a jam, right? And so for me, I would say budget obviously should be the first thing. What you can afford, how much to spend here and here. Let's say you got a budget. What will be the next thing? Venue?
Yep. Making sure you have a venue, making sure you have somewhere to be, right?
Yeah.
Some people have connections with certain places.
Yeah.
So utilizing those resources that you have on hand.
Okay.
And then other times you just got to cold call and see if people are willing to let
Right.
you host something in their space, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
And with venues, you got to take in consideration what's around it, right? Like you don't want to be throwing a battle in a residential area where at
Right.
once it's 10 o'clock, you're getting the cops calling you because it's too loud.
Yeah.
Because that happens. Luckily, that hasn't happened to any of my events, but we've had
Yeah.
complaints.
Kind of keep an eye in your surroundings when you're doing it.
Yeah, because you're throwing this event and it's not just you and your people. It's people like to go outside and like hang out outside.
Yeah. They don't want to get interrupted with the music. Hey, it's already past 10. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So after your budget, your venue, what's next? Or what would you do next?
Yeah, so budget venue. I mean, I always want to think of like the DJs, whether they're in the community, whether they're outside the community. Early on, what I really liked to do was hire like the main DJ to run the main battles.
Yeah.
People that have been DJing for a long time, have been in the scene for a long time. And then getting somebody younger who's learning how to DJ or hasn't done too many battles to do the ciphers, so that they get some experience.
I like that.
Getting while not having the pressure of like being the one to play the battles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of an entry level for who they're trying to learn, right? So the cipher is kind of like the entry. Like, yeah, play here, so you don't get the pressure of at the jam. Like, so that's really dope, and it also gives some breakaway from the main DJ to go to the bathroom and get food or something.
Yeah. And I think like I DJ too, so it's like sometimes you're standing up there for 2.5, 3 hours, and like you said, you haven't gone to the bathroom, you haven't eaten. Like it's hard work, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes with a b-boy event budget,
you'd be like
you're not
spinning
doing
the whole
for a lot of money, right? So
Yeah.
you do it for the love of it, but at the same time, you gotta get paid your worth and also get taken care of too, because you're an artist, you're a person, and you gotta do your stuff.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so after DJ, what would be the next step?
Yeah, DJ and judges kind of go hand in hand.
Oh yeah.
Who I think who would who are different enough that they're not on the same crew. Maybe they represent their styles are different, so that the people that are coming out to battle, everybody can be for the most part represented, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't hit everything. You can't always appease somebody who's like completely unbiased. You have those people who have like taught half the scene, right? But they're also people that that are respected in the scene, have knowledge, and even if they're younger, and like you see that they have an understanding of the dance, that sometimes the older cats don't have. One of the times, like I was asked to judge a Kill Beats battle held by Mike Rock. I judged with Germs from Dance Brooms.
Oh, cool.
Rob from Soul Felons, and then there's myself. And it was like a generational thing. It's like, cats have been around for a long time, and then a little bit not as long, and then me being as fresh as I was gave me an opportunity to see things from a different perspective. And show my perspective through my decisions. There's a lot of pressure because I'm just like, this is a tough spot to be in, but at the same time, different people have different, and that's what
different
that's what
opinions,
you want. That's what you want from judges. At least, I mean, now that things are getting more
all around and
like things
very dynamic moves. Like it's kind of crazy right now.
Yeah, with the Olympics and all that, and everything being standardized, you don't get those differing perspectives because they're being asked to look at certain things. I haven't looked at the judging system, but that's kind of
musicality, creativity, explosive, and execution. All kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
And
trying to get judges who are well-rounded, or at the very least, if they're not all well-rounded, they represent different things, so that people don't feel like, oh, you only go for the guy that does footwork, or you only the judge that's like that does all power is only looking for the power moves. You know what I mean?
Right. It's hard to judge the footwork or stylists, doing moves and stuff because it's a different perspective of what they're judging and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I mean, those are the basics of it, and like getting the budget, but that's kind of like the bare minimum of like throwing your event, like having the people or having an idea of the people.
Yeah.
And then from there, like, how do you fund it?
That's the hard part, right?
That's always the hard part.
I thrown jams out of pocket. I've done 3 jams so far. The first one out of pocket, I made actually some money. I charged that door. Second event, I pretty much broke even. And the third event, I actually lost some money because it's just like, wasn't enough people or I was paying the judges and the DJ, the whole venue, right?
Yeah.
And so definitely, experience. And like if I throw another one, I was like, how do I gonna do it without putting my own money, but fundraise or to provide hopefully good pay for judges and DJs and get that funding. But
I mean that's a tough part. It's always been a tough part, right? I know before, actually, still like a lot of it could come out of pocket, but learning how to talk to sponsors, learning how to talk to
sponsors,
businesses. What I've learned in the past couple of years is like b-boys are now business owners. People who are in hip hop are now, working in higher levels of certain businesses or industries, and they might be looking for ways to support. For a long time, to me, a younger b-boy, he stopped dancing, and he opened up a sushi restaurant, and for a while he was sponsoring some jams, and like he's like, I want to give back, right? Was able to like utilize
his sushi branding with the Breakin and I'm assuming logos and
logos,
stuff, his name out there, exposure,
but really for him it was him giving back to the community that gave him so much, right? And like if anybody's out there listening and you're a b-boy, or like you've been touched by hip hop and you own a business and you need somewhere to put your marketing money, go to jams, like give back to that community that potentially gave you so much, just because it means a lot once you're able to do it, right? Because there's a lot of times that be boys, be girls. We grow up to be men, be women.
Right. Yeah. Growing
And
up.
and you know, you got to take care of your own, but at the same time, um, at least for me, I learned so much from breaking that when I do have the funds to help fund an event,
Yeah.
yeah, like why not, right?
Right.
And for me, I feel that's like a lot more impactful um, than a random company throwing some money as marketing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Like these guys used to break, and now they're giving back to their community. Finding those people, reaching out to them, seeing if they're willing to be involved in some way, shape, or form,
Yeah.
is one way to get funds for your event. It doesn't always work out that way because they obviously need to take care of their business and make sure they're they're financially safe when they're making those decisions. But you know, sometimes sometimes they're able to help out in that way. So why not make the ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't hurt. Worst thing is a no. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk to somebody else.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, and then aside from that, there's a lot of arts funding depending on what city you live in.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really looking into what your city offers, right? Does your city offer grants? Does your city offer bursaries and scholarships for people in the arts?
Yeah.
I know out here in BC, for a lot of the grants, you need to be a non-for-profit that's been active for at least 1 year, so that you have a little bit of a track record of the things that you do as your non-for-profit society. But that's another way to get funds, like seeing what's
Oh,
out
okay.
there. You know, you can get up to $500 to 1,000 to even more
Yeah.
through public funding. It's
Wow.
it's out there. You know, for like the last 10 years, I was with the Vancouver Street Dance Festival, which is another large event out here in Vancouver that happens every summer, and it's an amazing event. It's honestly like the highlight of of uh, of a lot of people's summer. I missed this
So,
one, this last one, but you know, like my heart goes out to that event,
yeah.
and we're able to, you know, use you know, our story to gain public funding from different organizations, from the government, to fund our events.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's there, and a lot of times those are like 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. As long as you can show consistency and you're aligned with their mission and you're
Yes.
consistent with your mission,
They're down to
they're down
connect
to
and collab
connect,
with you.
support, right?
Yeah, support. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if their mission is to promote the arts, breaking, hip hop, it's the arts, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
engaging youth, you're engaging families, you're engaging your community, and that's what they want. And if you can align with that, there are grants out there that can support those things.
Dang. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah. Aligning with the, the arts of the city, with the youth to inspire and build value to them.
Yeah.
Cool, man. That's dope. So the funding after you said, so first step funding, second step venue, third step DJ, judges. What's next? I guess you got a prize money, your format of the jam, right?
Your incentives, and like I said, with throwing a jam that you want to attend, I think the format for me typically comes first. Like you'll have an idea.
Yes.
I'll have an idea. Like, okay, this is what I want to throw. This is the concept I want to do, and then I build from there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So the concept would be there, or the format would be there, and then once you have like those details set, like you have your venue, you have your judges, you have your DJs. Obviously, you got to start promoting. So in the past, I've utilized people who have really really skillful work in graphic design to design posters and advertising for my events. and then, you know, earlier it was like, okay,
Through
we're doing it as a homie discount.
right, and then you
And
get
then you gotta pay people.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like when you're promoting, what's some avenues to promote? Obviously social media is a good platform.
Yeah.
Do you do printing and stash them to all these different business and schools and stuff like that?
In the past, yeah. In the past, I mean, it's hard to say because like now everything's moved so digitally
Yeah, yeah,
that printing a flyer to hand out is like that's $200 or whatever it is.
yeah.
That could have gone to the prize money or to a judge, right?
Right.
So like keeping things fairly cheap by just doing it via social media.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but that's not always the only avenue,
Right.
but yeah, getting out on socials is kind of like the easiest way to go about it.
Yeah,
In the
yes, for
past,
sure.
I would print out flyers. I remember printing out flyers and then like cutting them like having a like
The cutting board thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, doing that for like hours on end, and
Oh man.
then going to practices, studios, and handing them out at other jams. But yeah, like it's a lot of work.
For sure, yeah, because you're out there promoting your jam. Hey, you go to a jam to promote your other jam too.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the next one, right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And then like I feel like nowadays it's not as common,
No.
right? Because everything's on social media, stories, and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I mean, and like, I don't know how effective those are anymore, just
Yeah.
because like Facebook and Instagram have different algorithms, and if they're
Yeah.
not actively following you and seeing your stuff, then like your posts might not even get to people, right? It could
Right.
get buried in under a bunch of other people's stories and whatnot, and you might not even get to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because this isn't my full time, like throwing jams isn't my full time thing.
Yes.
I haven't been able to invest the time to find different avenues of doing that. Maybe it is like going back to printing flyers and handing them out at practices and at jams to make sure
Yeah.
people know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's times there was jams in Seattle I didn't even know about till like 2 days before. Like, what? I didn't know that because through social media, I might not follow certain people that are doing it,
Yeah.
right? And so I don't see it like in the feeds and stuff like that. But then I see it in like, someone from Portland I know has a story. Hey, I'm hitting, there's a jam coming up. I'm like, oh, what? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like, if I knew like maybe a couple weeks before, maybe I could put time to go there. But, it's like, since it's like 2 days before, I'm like, I can't make it. But,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
so,
Yeah, it's kind of it's weird right now because like everything is heavily social media, like heavy on social media, that and because it is so easy to just like put that post out there and then share the story a couple times.
yeah.
Maybe that extra little bit of outreach can make that difference.
Yeah.
Of,
Yeah.
100 people coming or 150 people coming.
Yeah, for sure. And there's still old school people out there that probably prefer flyers, but you just never know, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, back then, people used to collect flyers too, right?
yeah.
You go to a jam, and it's like, oh, this is the jam I went to, so I want the flyer to put on my wall or like in my book, and like I definitely was like I posted all the flyers that I had of all the jams on my wall as a teenager.
Yeah.
I can't.
I did that. I honestly, I did that myself too. I collect some flyers and stuff too, and just kind of had them like on the wall and stuff like that. And so
Yeah,
that's
dope
dope.
memories. It's not like I'm gonna do that with like Instagram posts right now.
Right. Yeah. No. Cool, man. So like, yeah, you pretty much broke it down what you need to do to how to throw a jam, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you? We forgot one thing. Host.
Yeah.
The host.
Yeah.
So I know you usually host your own jams. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. But
Yeah.
do you ever get like a co-host or somebody?
For me personally, I like to host my own jams just because I'm the one that has the timeline in mind. I know the flow that I need to go on to the flow of the event, how I
Oh,
want it.
okay. Yes.
So
Yes.
because I'm the host, I'm in control of what's happening, and I know my agenda. I know what I need to get done by a certain time. I know who I need to shout out.
Yeah.
So like me being on the mic and hosting, one, people see my face. They know that I'm the person that's behind this.
Mm-hmm.
Not that like I care that people know, but it's like there's accountability,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
This is my jam, so I'm here hosting. If you have any questions, you can find me.
Right.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm not just in the back, just like watching it happen.
Yeah.
Because I've hosted events for other people, and because I don't know their timeline, I don't know what they expect, I don't know what time they're expecting things to happen. Me being on the mic and hosting, one, people see my face, they know that I'm the person that's behind this.
Mm-hmm.
Not that like I care that people know, but it's like there's accountability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
This is my jam, so I'm here hosting. If you have any questions, you can find me.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I'm not just in the back, just like watching it happen.
Yeah.
Because I've hosted events for other people, and because I don't know their timeline, I don't know what they expect, I don't know what time they're expecting things to happen. The communication's a little crazy, and it's kind of hard.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, something happened. I think I think the battery died or something like that. I should have checked that beforehand. But bro, that's dope. You pretty much broke it down.
One thing that we didn't mention is volunteers.
Okay.
So volunteers, people that are helping you out in terms of like even just signing people in at the door, like checking people in, signing people up, help people helping you set up sound equipment, people setting up like chairs, like volunteers are kind of like one of the biggest. They're the pillar. Like it wouldn't happen if people weren't volunteering, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like I have enough money to pay people to do that.
Yeah,
work,
to stage
right?
the event, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of props to who's there to set that up.
Yeah.
Set tables, chairs, and whatever you need, stages to do that. And without them or the host to advocate the guidance to do that, nothing would happen.
Yeah.
Or just all you, and then you're just gonna be like bouncing everywhere.
Exactly. Is it still recording? Do you want to still like what do you want to do?
Yeah, you got a sec? I'm gonna swap it real quick. I know that one died too. I have another battery actually.
Okay.
Cool, we're back up. We had some technical difficulties here. The battery died out of the blue, but we're back. Arthur, so we're talking about jams, how to throw a jam. We started with budgeting. Well, actually, format, budgeting, funding,
DJs, venues, judges. Yeah.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about sponsorship and grants and like public funding and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, public fundings where you're gonna help out, get grants to help fund the event a little bit, right? Or pay the people.
Pay the people. You gotta pay the people. And like and that's something that's like really we gotta strive for is being able to pay our judges, our DJs, they're a proper rate, right?
Yeah.
They're putting in work. They're sitting there for 5 hours sometimes. DJs are playing music for 5 hours. Like, $75 ain't gonna cut it anymore. Like $100 ain't gonna cut. Like,
right, yeah,
300 minimum. Depending on like how much that they're doing. But obviously, like you want to make sure that those people like. If you're an artist, you want to make sure you're getting paid.
Yeah, you're paying your people well that you hire, right?
Exactly.
Because not only, it may save you some bucks, but in the reflection, you got their time, their value. Are they really worth the value of $75, or are they spinning and doing a great job where their value is $500, right?
Yeah.
So it really depends who you have.
Yeah, and then there are people who they want to give back, and they're willing to do a smaller rate, right?
Yeah.
I was working with somebody, and for some events that have a lot of sponsorship, they will charge their max rate. But for community events, then they'll reduce it, right? So there's a little
Yes,
bit
that
of
makes sense.
like scaling in how in their pricing, because small community events,
Yeah.
sometimes they can't afford a couple $1,000s to pay somebody, and they're flying them in and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate it when uh, people are cognizant of that, and they pay things forward in that way,
Yeah, pay
right?
things forward. And yeah, if it's a high production, yes, it makes sense. For a small local jam, you might reduce the price just because it's a community type event. And that has happened in like Portland. DJ Plus One, he's from Portland.
Yep.
And a few years ago, he came back and got in the scene. He spanned, and I think that year he spanned like 4 jams, and he didn't even, they got him for free. He did it for free,
Yeah.
just because it's like small local Portland jam. This is where he's from, and he wanted to to
Yeah.
be out there to rep.
To rep, to give back, and
Yeah,
like doing those things inspires other people to get on it, right? Like,
yeah,
if you can spin those jams, uh it increases the um production value of your event, right? Of the event he's spinning for, and hopefully next time that event can get more funding, because they're like, we have this world class DJ DJing our events,
yeah,
and he brings in these people,
yeah,
so these are the people that it reaches, and unfortunately, but also fortunately, like, a lot of companies use events, or at least we try to utilize events as marketing, right?
yeah,
Who
yeah,
who are
definitely.
we reaching? Who are the people that are gonna see my product or see my logo? Are they the people that I want, you know
Yeah,
like, buying my product, right?
right. Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
um, and showing that your event can pull this many people, and this is your demographic, and this is what they're all about. That's incentive for companies who are aligned with that to sponsor,
Yes,
right? And to make sure that your DJs are paid well and your judges are paid well.
for
um,
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
because they can, just their name and their personal brand can bring in 100 more people. And if you do charge, that event, well, if it's like $10 each, that's $1,000 right there at the door.
Yep.
And so it's always good to, yeah, definitely pay them well. And it's all the personal brand who you bring. It can make a difference and change.
Definitely, definitely. And the way things are going with social media is that people are blowing up, people are getting like internet famous, like
Yeah,
even more so than what internet famous used to be, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, and also realizing that a lot of those people who are blowing up online are just like you and me, they're regular people, but
right.
for you know their algorithm, or like the amount of content they put out
Mm-hmm.
is being shown worldwide, and people are aware
Yeah,
of them, right?
yeah.
um
You're just like one video from being viral, depending what it is,
yeah.
right? And then that can latch on, thousands, 10 thousands of people. And for you to be at a place with that name can, definitely bring
Yeah.
10,000,
Yeah.
thousands of people,
I,
right?
I mean,
So
I
it's
really,
crazy.
it is, and I really hope that more breakers, DJs, people in the hip hop scene are getting that recognition online, if they're putting in that work, and that's what they
Yeah.
want. Um, because that sometimes people are putting in years of work, and they're not being seen or recognized, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great people in the community or local areas that are killing it or doing great things, but they're not getting the exposure for the recognition.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the internet's a weird place. That, like, the weirdest thing will go viral, and then like the dopest stuff gets, like,
Yeah,
it gets like
it's just
unseen, swept under the rug, which is kind of whack. So, You know, I
Yeah.
hope something changes in the algorithm where the dope stuff gets seen, and you know those people get booked, and those people stick with the community and give back to the community, or
Yeah.
elevate people within the community to their level, or you know, whatever it is, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You got to influence or inspire others, and use that knowledge to grow it from a new generation.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Because people are watching. Like
Yeah.
people are on their phones like
Oh man.
all day,
Uh huh.
all
Yeah.
day,
Definitely.
and you know, are they looking at stuff that is dope, that is good,
Oh, I
that
seen weird stuff got like million views.
yeah,
The
yeah,
weirdest stuff. I'm like, how the heck? But
yeah,
it's I guess it's entertaining and art in a weird way.
yeah. The internet's a weird place.
It is
Yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah.
cool, man. So from like jams, you hosted tons of jams. You got into breaking, and I think you did mention you say you're getting the DJing
Yep,
a little bit.
yep,
Okay,
yeah.
cool, man. Are you getting into DJing through like break beats or like hip hop music? Where do you see yourself on that?
I mean, I really enjoy playing open style battles. I really enjoy playing for other styles other than breaking.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
I
yeah.
like playing breaking, but it's also like
That
hearing other
diverse.
music is always good. It's always
Yeah.
fun, right? And really, I got into DJing from throwing events. So when I would throw jams, the DJs would always request to have turntables and have 1200s.
Okay.
So I'd always rent them, and then there was a point where they stopped renting them and they stopped selling them.
Oh wow.
So I ended up buying a set for myself, just so I had
Ah.
something for my DJs to always have.
Yeah, yeah. So when you say 1200s, what are exactly are
Oh,
those?
sorry, Technique 1200. So
Those are turntables. Okay.
turntables.
Okay.
I mean, for most DJs who play on turntables, that's kind of like the industry standard. There's obviously newer ones,
Okay.
better
Okay.
ones, but like I think mine are from like the early '90s, and they're built like tanks, and they like quality hasn't changed in forever, and it's kind of like the hip hop standard
Okay.
for turntables. So I bought
Dope.
I
Dope.
bought those and I had them, and when I moved back from Toronto after spending like a year and a half to almost 2 years there, I was like, well,
Yeah.
I have these turntables, I have a bunch of records. Why don't I start DJing?
Right. Right.
Why
For
not?
sure.
Yeah,
You got the equipment. You got the stuff. So why not give it a shot?
exactly.
Cool.
And
Cool.
I think for me, keeps me connected to the street dance culture without having
Yes.
to,
Yes.
like, you know, I don't always have time to practice, go to sessions, and
Yeah. For sure.
you know, as you get older, like your physical body can't handle the same amount of stress and you know, beating it
Yeah.
does from breaking.
Right, right,
So
yeah. I
so
feel like as we're getting older, it takes double the physical
yeah,
mindset just to go do it, right?
yeah,
And like, so that's kind of cool that you mentioned that into like kind of bringing the hip hop stuff. So like the previous, I did an episode with Fish Boogie, and he was talking, telling me how his DJ kind of like the music intertwines with his breaking
yeah,
while he's like since he's been doing it he's like listening to the music more and like hitting the certain beats and it kind of helps with musicality right
mm-hmm.
to the sense but and it still works in a sense together like, I mean that's he was
100%.
mentioning like that's hip hop right that's why
Yeah.
it's part of the hip hop yeah
Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, you listen to music all the time, and you're listening for certain things. You're seeing how certain music fits, and because you're hearing it all the time, like your body, like as a dancer, you're like, oh, I'm reacting to this. I understand this now, and even if it's like a song you
yeah
don't know, it's like, oh, now I have a better understanding of music structure or patterns. Um,
yeah
and I won't and I can't claim that I'm at that level
right
yet,
right
because I've been doing it casually, and I've been breaking very casually for the past like seven years.
okay
So like my breaking hasn't been as strong as I used to be, but at the same time, like it's like I'm still feeling connection, and I'm understanding what it takes to be a DJ and also a dancer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overlap, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you can't. I mean, you can't dance without music.
Right.
Yeah, you have to have a certain understanding of music to appreciate the dance. A certain appreciation of the music for the dance.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, because if you don't appreciate the music you're dancing to, um, I feel like it's almost like there's something missed there.
Right.
There's a missed opportunity there. Um, from my understanding of the origins of hip hop, it was because Herc wanted the dancers, like they noticed that the dancers were going off at these
Yeah.
certain points of the song, and because he wanted those dancers to like prolong those dance like those high energy times,
Yeah.
you prolong the break, which
Yeah.
provided a longer break for MCs to start rapping, and
Was it
like
Cool Herc, right?
it's
Cool Herc in
her
the gang.
cool.
Is that right? Yeah, over in New York.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so dope. I remember watching the Get Down on Netflix. They talk a lot about those DJs, Flash what was it? Oh man.
Yeah, Flash.
Flash Funk or is
Yeah,
it
no, Grandmaster Flash.
Grandmaster Flash? Yeah, they
Yep.
talk all about him. So if you haven't seen it and you want to get more in depth of like the history of that stuff, that's a great one. It's not a documentary. It's like it's an
It's a
actual show. So
yeah. It was a cool show to see how, in how we view now times, and like a snippet of what life was like.
yeah,
But what's also like really dope is that the people who are around that time are still around today, and people can reach out to
Yeah.
them about the stories of the early days of hip hop, and even before it was called hip hop. So
yeah,
I think we're in a really blessed time. Like this year is like celebrating 50 years of hip hop,
yeah, yeah,
and people are getting some shine. Some people are sharing their stories of how
yeah.
it was back then. So
That's sick. Yeah,
yeah.
that's so dope. Yeah, and it's like back then, all that stuff, the amount of exposure of these people had back then, we don't see it or it's never been on video, and there's so much knowledge and history that we can create now because it's through video form. But back then, imagine people talking like us that never been filmed or footage, right? There's only so many few of us that can actually have it as a history of documenting it.
Yeah,
And so there's a lot of missed chapters that through that time.
definitely. Yeah, a lot of missed chapters, a lot of people who haven't had their stories told. Yeah, and a lot of them are still around.
Yeah.
So it's like, if whoever's out there interviewing cats,
There you go.
reaching out,
Yep.
reaching out to people who haven't really had their story told, which I think might fill in a lot of gaps, and it
Yeah.
might give us a better, clearer idea of what it was back then, because we know how it is now, but
Yeah.
what started the movement, what started it, is just as important, right?
Yeah, definitely. And, schools don't teach that. Those schools will teach history, but with like, back in, how we found the countries and founders and inspiration of MLK and other things, right? But when it comes to hip hop, I think that is missed out in culture through school as like a mainstream thing. And definitely, I believe through that, like everything we do is part of that. The music now today, without it, wouldn't be hearing stuff on the radio that's of like rap and hip hop. That stuff wouldn't. Who knows what would have been if that never popped, right?
Yeah,
And so,
yeah. I mean, it's a global thing. It's like
Yeah.
a multi-billion-dollar industry that almost everybody across the world knows about,
yeah,
right? Like you might not know Herc, but you might know Jay-Z, right?
yeah,
And there's a lineage there. There's stories, and these things came from a place, and as b-boys, we're part of that lineage too, right?
yeah.
And we also carry that lineage and really share it from my experience, talking to b-boys who kind of study hip hop, they're the ones that kind of like try to carry the tradition on as much as possible. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
when we have a battle, we need to have a DJ, we need to have an
Yeah.
MC, we need to have the dancers, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And you could also incorporate graffiti in there, and have a graffiti artist who's turned into a graphic designer design your poster.
yeah,
um, or do a live piece at your jam. Like, I don't see that happening at hip hop show, at like rap shows.
yeah.
I don't see that happening at DJ competitions. Um,
Yeah, intertwining all of it is
yeah,
dope because, like you said, live, live graffiti, live DJ, live audience, and just getting that culture in a live atmosphere to feel it. You can watch so many battles and shows, but when you're in there live, it's definitely you get a different feeling.
it's different. Yeah,
And you're in that moment.
yeah. When you see all of it come together, and yeah, like our context is different from what it was back in the 70s and 80s, but the feeling is still the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dope, man. This is sick.
Yeah.
Time of history, how to throw a jam, kind of reminisce a little bit through that. That's really good. I think our viewers were appreciating and like it. And so, like, do you got any projects? Anything in the horizon is growing? Like, what are you up to now?
I mean, personally, I got a couple things going on. I'm like, I just finished my master's degree in clinical counseling.
Oh, nice.
And I hope in hopefully the near future I can do something with hip hop and mental health. Using hip hop as potentially therapeutic intervention for youth,
that's dope.
for adults, whoever.
You're,
Sorry, go ahead.
you're kind of using it already, because you said you work at a school district and you are having dancers coming by to do some workshops or some classes and stuff to show the students.
Yeah, I work in the school district, and we provide free after school program care for students in our district, and I try to get dancers booked to do sessions and teach the kids, and expose them to hip hop, expose them to something that I wish I had when I was younger, but it was something that I really latched onto and identified with, and was able to find a community with in my teenage years.
Yeah.
So, like, kids are going to latch on to whatever they're interested in, but you don't know until you offer
expose it to them, and they might gravitate it and might stick with them forever. They might have a moment where, like, hey, I want to MC something, I want to rap, I want to learn breakdance, and it's like, if you're not exposed to it, how do you know you don't like it?
Exactly. And then also changing the whole narrative around hip hop, being something that is only for street kids, or like,
it's definitely been, well, I don't want to say misconceived, but I mean, it's a street dance, right? And so there are people that think of it probably today, hey, these are street dancers, whatever, get out of the way.
I mean, it boils down to racism. It boils down to, how people conceive Black culture overall, and that's such an unfortunate thing. That's
right, in today's society, you shouldn't
stereotyping hip hop is associated with thugs, and like it's not.
Some of these people might look thuggish because they got tattoos, or hood looking, but some of these people are gonna be like the most like down to earth person.
People. Yeah. I mean, some of the kindest people are the people who are like embedded in hip hop culture, and are like, they might look scary or whatever it is, but like they're hella nice. Right. Yeah. So, breaking those stereotypes and those stigmas around hip hop is something that I hope is happening. I think is happening slowly but surely, because we could see it globally that it's helped a lot of people. It's given a lot of people uh, somewhere to belong, somewhere to identify with, something to do, something that's productive.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it wasn't for breaking and hip hop, for me personally, I would have never thought of working with kids. I've never thought of working with youth or getting to the counseling field. Um, I would have never gotten into event management and throwing events and understanding how to budget.
Yeah.
Like the skills that I learned through hip hop, I don't think I would have learned if I was just playing basketball. If I
Yeah.
was just, doing whatever, right? Just playing video games.
Right.
Not to knock on any of those things, but I know my experience with hip hop, and I learned so much that I didn't learn in school.
Yeah.
That just didn't come.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. You get a little street smart,
yeah,
doing battles. I believe for me as well, or whoever, build confidence.
yeah, yeah,
Structure, kind of a little discipline to learn this and getting out there, get in the hot spot to get out of your comfort zone
yeah,
and kind of face and battle like whoever's in front of you, no matter what level they're at.
yeah,
And it kind of really can relate today.
yeah,
Doesn't matter how tall you are, how big you are, you're a person and I'm a person, dude. Like, I'll come and talk to you. No worries. If you don't acknowledge that, sure, whatever. It's not gonna hurt my day,
yeah.
It's as long as, because we're just people, and
There's
so
people, and another thing too. It's like hip hop taught me how to communicate with others. Like
yeah,
I remember growing up as like a shy kid, and not really interacting with other people.
yeah,
And then next thing I know, like I'm emceeing in front of, like I'm not rapping, but like I'm hosting an event in front of hundreds of people,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like a 12-year-old me be like,
So
you're
like,
you're wetting your pants.
right, exactly, yeah, yeah. It's crazy,
Never would
yeah,
have thought, right? So like the
yeah,
skills that you can learn through hip hop and the opportunities it brings you, I think is huge to bring to kids, to bring to
yeah.
youth, to bring to adults. Um, yeah, like I think there's
Like,
so much power in it.
yeah, you just made me think of like the element of hip hop, breaking, graffiti art, MC, DJ. It's like they all intertwine to make hip hop, right? And
Yeah,
so like yeah, this it's just kind of crazy how we're talking about it, and it's like giving me a deeper mindset, more respect to it, to that culture, into a different level.
yeah. I mean, and I think like when we're in it, like when we're like just learning how to break, we're not thinking about it that way.
Yeah,
We're just thinking about like, I gotta learn how to windmill. I gotta learn how to halo. I gotta learn how to do this freeze and do this
yeah,
combo. And then when you step away from that, it's like, oh, I learned how to discipline myself. I learned how to um,
yeah. Not give
focus,
up
not
and
give up. Yeah, persevere. And it's like if I could
yeah,
do that here, where else can I do that?
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Man, this is dope. I love it.
Yeah.
I think we can do this for hours, and
Yeah.
so
Yep. Yeah.
um, yeah. I'm probably gonna wrap it up here since it's pretty solid right now.
Let's do it.
So like if you're in Vancouver, BC, Canada, this is Arthur. If we want to connect with you, how can we find you?
Find me on Instagram, Arthur Storm. It's a private account, but if you're a homie with Tony, you know,
Send them a DM.
send me a DM. Also, I forgot to plug
Yeah.
November 11th, 2023. We're throwing the Floor Storm anniversary um, jam.
Oh,
November,
word.
Surrey, BC, home of the crew. On the birthday of our lost
Oh,
brother,
dope, dope.
DJ Wondercut. So, also in Canada, it's Remembrance Day. So,
Come out.
come
Come
out,
through.
come through. If you add me on Instagram, also follow my event management page, Funk and Soul,
Okay.
funk.n.soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta send me that so I can
Yeah.
link all the information in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dope, man. It's such a blessing to have you on.
Yes, sir.
And, thank you guys for watching. Like, share this, subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
And I think with experience and just like realizing over time that like half the fucking value I get out of being at practice is not caring what anybody thinks and just having fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you probably realizing that too. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and I think with